Drach'nyen. Demon weapons are some of the most dangerous relics in Warhammer 40k. Each one contains a bound warp entity that grants incredible power to its wielder, but every victory comes at a price. Heroes have fallen, and countless souls have been claimed by blades that were never meant to exist. Before Chaos had its greatest champions, there was Drach'nyen. Legend says it was born from the very first murder, when one human killed another out of hatred. Every murder since has made it stronger, turning it into one of the oldest and most powerful demons in the warp. Today, Drach'nyen is the signature weapon of Abaddon the Despoiler. He claimed it during the First Black Crusade after entering the Tower of Silence on the world of Uralon, where the demon had been trapped for thousands of years. Long before Abaddon found it, Drach'nyen faced the Emperor during the war in the Webway. It first appeared as a savage warrior before changing into a spear and stabbing the Emperor. Even the Master of Mankind couldn't destroy it. Instead, he sealed the demon inside the custodian Ra Endymion, who disappeared into the warp with it. Like every demon weapon, Drach'nyen has a mind of its own. It constantly hungers for blood, its blade filled with the screaming faces of the souls it has consumed. Even other demons fear it. They call it the End of Empires because it serves no chaos god and bows to no master. Helspear. Harkon World Claimer, Abaddon's personal bodyguard and herald of the apocalypse, carries a demon weapon known as the Helspear. Before the Black Legion attacks a world, Harkon often arrives first to deliver a simple message: surrender now or die later. He earned that role after fighting through countless campaigns in Abaddon's service. During the War of Beasts on Vigilus, Harkon drove the Helspear into the ground before the planet's defenders and declared that their world would fall within 80 days. The Helspear has tasted the blood of monarchs, Xenos tyrants, and even rival Chaos Lords. Every life it takes restores Harkon's strength, allowing him to keep fighting long after others would have fallen. He can also throw the spear across the battlefield, and it always returns to his hand, ready to claim its next victim. The Black Blade. Before Angron became a demon primarch, he fought with chain axes. Today he carries a demon weapon simply known as the Black Blade. Like its master, the Black Blade exists for one purpose: killing. It is a demon weapon bound to Khorne, making every swing far deadlier than an ordinary blade. In Angron's hands, it has cut through space marines, tanks, towering war machines, and even other legendary champions without slowing down. Since his ascension, the Black Blade has become his signature weapon, carried into every massacre he leads. It's famous because of the monster carrying it. Wherever Angron appears, the Black Blade is usually the last thing his enemies ever see. Carnage Slaughter. Skarbrand, once Khorne's greatest bloodthirster, owns the twin demon axes known as Carnage Slaughter. Each weapon contains the essence of a rival bloodthirster that Skarbrand defeated in battle, making them as brutal as their master. Skarbrand claimed the axes by defeating two of his mightiest rivals. Tzeentch later fed Skarbrand's pride until he believed he was powerful enough to challenge the blood god himself. When Skarbrand struck Khorne from behind, his greatest blow did little more than scratch the blood god's armor. Khorne seized him by the throat and hurled him across the warp. Skarbrand flew for 8 days and nights before crashing into a distant world with enough force to carve a massive canyon. Carnage grows stronger as Skarbrand bleeds, making every wound he suffers fuel for even more devastating attacks. Slaughter is no less deadly, and together the twin axes have butchered countless champions across the galaxy. Even after his exile, Skarbrand continues to fight in Khorne's name, driven by endless rage. Argath, the King of Blades. A mortal warlord worshipped Khorne so completely that when the blood god finally offered him demonhood, he refused. He didn't want to become a demon, he wanted to keep fighting with his own hands, so he asked Khorne to turn him into a weapon instead. Khorne granted his wish, and the warlord became Argath, the King of Blades, a living demon weapon that still craves battle thousands of years later. Drawing Argath comes at a terrible price. The demon inside doesn't simply lend its strength, it slowly takes control of its wielder, turning them into little more than a body carrying the blade into its next fight. That is what makes Argath so terrifying. Every victory feeds the demon's legend, but every kill really belongs to the blade itself. The warrior holding it may think they're in control, when in reality they're just the latest pair of hands serving Khorne. The Berzerker Glaive. Anyone who picks up the Berzerker Glaive is consumed by a blood frenzy, gaining incredible strength and resilience. The demon cares only that blood is spilled in Khorne's name, whether it belongs to enemies, allies, or even its own wielder. The weapon imprisons a bloodletter driven mad by its captivity. The demon is always trying to break free, fighting for control of whoever dares to wield it. The glaive is not the only weapon of its kind. The Axe of Ka-Aksha imprisons an even greater demon, a bloodthirster that once rebelled against Khorne himself. Its wielders have carved out bloody empires across the screaming vortex, but they all face the same danger. No one truly controls a demon weapon. It only allows its master to borrow its power until the price must be paid. Manreaper. Every Manreaper is dipped in the foul filth that seeps from Nurgle's own throne before it is ever given to its bearer. A single cut infects the victim with supernatural diseases that no Medicae in the galaxy could ever cure. Its most infamous bearer is Typhus, once the first captain of the Death Guard under the name Callus Typhon. During the Horus Heresy, Typhon betrayed his own legion by trapping the Death Guard fleet inside the warp. The destroyer plague spread through every ship, leaving even space marines rotting alive inside their own armor. The Death Guard survived, but they emerged bloated, diseased, and forever bound to the Plague God. Typhon became Typhus, and the Manreaper has remained in his hands ever since, a weapon as steeped in corruption as the champion who carries it. Gahalax, Fist of Decay. This demon weapon of Nurgle takes the form of a diseased gauntlet that covers its bearer's hand. Instead of cutting flesh with a blade, it delivers the Plague God's corruption through its touch. One clean strike is enough to infect the victim with supernatural decay that spreads far beyond the original wound. Unlike Manreaper, Gahalax's history is almost completely unknown. All that survives is its reputation, a demon weapon feared for what happened to anyone unfortunate enough to feel its touch. Khartoth the Bloodhunger. This demon weapon is unlike most others because it has no permanent master. Khartoth the Bloodhunger serves as the prize in one of Khorne's endless contests. Khorne hides the blade inside one of his flesh hounds and unleashes his demons to hunt it down. The demon that kills the hound and claims the sword becomes the Lord of the Slaughter, earning Khorne's favor and the right to lead his armies into battle. When the Blood God grows tired of that champion, another flesh hound devours both the bearer and the blade, and the hunt begins again. It is said that Khartoth the Bloodhunger can cut through both matter and time, though what that really means is known only to Khorne. Bedlam Staff of Sindri. The Bedlam Staff of Sindri is an ancient psychic weapon dating back to the days of Prospero. It channels powerful warp energy that can overwhelm an enemy's mind and leave them helpless. Its most famous owner was Sindri, an Alpha Legion sorcerer who carried it during the invasion of Tartarus. His plans came to an end when the Blood Ravens defeated him and claimed the staff instead of destroying it. The Blood Ravens are famous for collecting powerful relics, but this one stands out. A chapter surrounded by rumors of hidden ties to the Thousand Sons now owns one of their oldest psychic weapons, an irony that has kept fans talking for years. Silver Blade of the Laer. The Silver Blade of the Laer is the weapon that helped corrupt the Primarch Fulgrim. He claimed it after the Emperor's children destroyed the Laer during the Great Crusade, unaware that a powerful demon of Slaanesh was trapped inside. The blade got what it wanted at Isfahan 5. As Fulgrim raised it against his own brother, Ferrus Manus, the demon inside finally twisted its way fully into control, and it was the demon's hand, not Fulgrim's, that struck the killing blow. What makes this darker than most possession stories is what happened next. Fulgrim didn't die, and he didn't disappear. He remained fully conscious inside his own skull for months afterward, aware of everything his stolen body was doing, unable to stop any of it. The demon simply kept wearing him, and never gave him back. The blade later came into the hands of Lucius the Eternal, another champion of Slaanesh. Few demon weapons have had such a lasting effect on the history of the Imperium. Instead of destroying armies, it corrupted one of the Emperor's greatest sons. The Lash of Torment. Since Lucius the Eternal had already claimed the Silver Blade of the Laer, Slaanesh gifted him another demon weapon, the Lash of Torment. Few champions have earned the Dark Prince's favor like Lucius. He lives for the perfect duel, takes pride in every kill, and carries a curse that lets him return from death by transforming anyone who kills him with even the slightest feeling of pride into the next Lucius. The Lash of Torment is a living demon whip covered in wicked barbs that rip flesh apart with every strike. It feeds on fear and suffering, making its victims panic as the agony grows worse. Even those who witness its attacks can be overwhelmed by terror, leaving them easier to break. In the hands of Slaanesh's greatest duelist, the Lash of Torment is more than just another weapon. It lets Lucius turn every battle into the kind of cruel spectacle his god loves most. Deii'Sh'thuhl, the Whispering Blade. This demon weapon was created because two servants of Slaanesh refused to let the other have the final victory. Their rivalry began as renegade pirate captains in the Screaming Vortex, and continued long after both had become demon princes. One of them crafted a flawless sword from a single turquoise crystal, creating a weapon worthy of Slaanesh himself. Rather than accept defeat, his rival bound his own essence into the blade, becoming the demon trapped inside it and claiming the masterpiece as his own. Known as the Whispering Blade, Deii'Sh'thuhl is said to speak to whoever wields it, though no one knows exactly what it whispers. In the end, the demon prince who forged the weapon threw it into the Screaming Vortex, where it began its long journey into the hands of new masters. The Souleater Sword. The blade belongs to Zarakanel, a keeper of secrets also known as the Angel of Despair. She uses it to hunt Eldari, especially Exodites, harvesting their spirit stones so that the souls trapped inside can be claimed by Slaanesh rather than find the peace their people seek. One of the sword's most famous victims was Nefertari, the companion of Iskandar Khayan. Zarakanel killed her, but before she could claim Nefertari's soul, Khayan unleashed a powerful psychic attack that banished the demon back into the warp. Zarakanel eventually returned, but Nefertari's soul had escaped her grasp. The Souleater Sword is feared by the Eldar because it can deny its victims peace even after death. Every spirit stone it claims is another Eldari soul condemned to Slaanesh's eternal torment, making the blade one of the deadliest weapons ever turned against their dying race. The Blade of Shadows. The oldest demon prince in the setting doesn't need a god's blessing. Be'lakor fell to chaos before the chaos gods had even begun fighting over mortal champions, and the Blade of Shadows has been with him ever since. Like Be'lakor, the Blade of Shadows belongs to no single Chaos god. It has been his signature weapon since the earliest days of Chaos and remains one of the oldest demon weapons still in use. Every swing is backed by the power of the warp, making the blade just as deadly as the demon prince carrying it. It has cut down Imperial heroes and anyone else who stood between Be'lakor and his plans. Borhg'ash. It was forged for the Imperium and carried through the Great Crusade before falling into the hands of the Word-bearers. Today, it belongs to the Dark Apostle Marduk, who wields it as a demon-possessed chainsword. Borhg'ash feeds on the blood of everyone it cuts down. Every kill strengthens the demon bound inside, making the weapon even more eager for the next victim. Marduk carried Borhg'ash during the massacre at Calth when the Word-bearers turned on the Ultramarines. Once a weapon made to defend the Imperium, Borhg'ash now serves the very gods it was meant to destroy. Kai Gun. Most demon weapons are swords or axes. The Kai Gun proves a demon can haunt a firearm just as easily. The Kai Gun was created by the weaponsmiths of the Kai system after their world was swallowed by the Eye of Terror. They struck a bargain with the demons for protection and forged these massive weapons in return. The deal didn't last, and the demons eventually slaughtered the entire population, leaving the Kai Guns as the world's final legacy. Far too large for an ordinary human to carry, the Kai Gun is usually wielded by powerful Chaos Space Marines and Demon Princes. It feeds on the hatred of its bearer, turning rage and malice into blasts of destructive warp energy that tear into anything in their path. The Black Mace. 4 demon Primarchs cursed the same weapon, and it's never forgotten a single one of them. The Black Mace is technically a Crozius, not a mace, whatever its name says, and it carries the blessing of every Chaos-aligned Primarch at once. Anyone struck by it doesn't just die, collapsing instantly into a pile of smoldering bones, the curse rippling outward in a shockwave to catch anyone standing too close. Its first confirmed kill was a White Scar's Praetor, meaning the moment its history is known, whoever carries it is marked a confirmed traitor beyond any doubt. It closes Chaos's arsenal for a reason. No other weapon here belongs so completely to every god at once. Dark Blades. Not every demon weapon belongs to a famous Chaos champion. Some end up in the hands of the Imperium. Dark Blades are cursed weapons that devour a piece of their victim's soul with every successful strike. The demon bound inside grows stronger with every life it claims, making each kill a little more dangerous than the last. They're most often linked to radical and Xanthite Inquisitors, who believe chaos can be turned against itself. Most would call them heretics for carrying a demon weapon. They call it a necessary risk. Kharnagar. This contains the bound essence of a lesser demon called Kharnagar the Deathly, channeled into blade form by Quixos, once an Imperial Inquisitor of the Ordo Xenos, now one of the Inquisition's most notorious radical failures. He built it himself through the same forbidden rituals the Ordo Malleus exists to stamp out, turning the tools of his enemies into his own personal arsenal. When rival Inquisitors came to end his heresy, Kharnagar ended them instead. Quixos plunged the blade into Inquisitor Helgren's stomach, immolating him on the spot, and later killed Inquisitor Hetris Lugenbrow, who'd hunted him for nearly a century only to share the same fate. On a victim, the blade moves faster than the eye can track, granting Quixos combat speed no ordinary swordsman could match. He cut down skilled duelists before they even registered the strike. On its bearer, the corruption is total and visible. By the time Gregor Eisenhorn finally caught up to him, Quixos had twisted into a crimson-eyed, horned monstrosity, his skin cracked and kept alive by augmetics. Harkus Dreadaxe. Captain Harkus of the Relictors carries a demon weapon stolen from Chaos. He serves in the honor guard of Chapter Master Artekus Bardane, wielding a massive double-headed dreadaxe described in chapter records as an axe said to hunger for souls, feeding on those it cuts down in battle. The Relictors didn't recover Harkus's weapon from one famous campaign. It became part of the chapter's growing collection of captured Chaos relics, gathered over decades for one purpose, turning the enemy's own weapons against them. That belief goes back to the chapter's earliest days as the Fireclaws, after recovering a demon sword near the Eye of Terror. Forgebreaker. Forgebreaker is the massive demonic thunderhammer wielded by Perturabo, the demon primarch of the Iron Warriors. Like its master, the weapon does not truly belong to any single Chaos god. The hammer was forged for a primarch who spent his life believing the Imperium never gave him the recognition he deserved. Even after falling to Chaos, Perturabo remained driven by bitterness and the need to prove his worth. Little is known about Forgebreaker's history or the rituals surrounding it. Instead, it is remembered as the weapon of a Primarch who valued recognition over glory, using its crushing power to tear through anyone who stood in his way. The Artekus Scourge. Most Space Marines destroy demon weapons. The Relictors collect them. The Artekus Scourge was taken by Chapter Master Artekus Bardane after he killed a champion of Slaanesh on the world of Eidolon. Instead of destroying the demon-bound flail, he claimed it as a trophy and made it one of the Relictors' most prized relics. Before carrying it into battle, each bearer spends days fasting and praying to strengthen their mind against the corruption trapped inside. The flail is said to lash out at the souls of those it strikes, its imprisoned demons still hungering for every victim. The Artekus Scourge isn't the Relictor's only captured demon weapon. Captain Harkus also carries a stolen Dreadaxe, and together they reflect the chapter's most controversial belief, that chaos can be fought with its own weapons, as long as the wielder is strong enough to resist them. Axe of Morkai. Logan Grimnar got the Axe of Morkai after defeating a powerful Chaos champion in battle. The demon weapon is one of the Space Wolves' most important relics, an ancient artifact that still pulses with the power of the warp. Instead of destroying the axe, Grimnar ordered the chapter's Iron Priests to reforge it. They reshaped the weapon into the image of Morkai, the twin-headed wolf god who guards the gates of the afterlife in the Legends of Fenris. In battle, the Axe of Morkai is a deadly weapon that has cut down countless enemies. Its twin-headed design honors Morkai and represents the Space Wolves' ability to take the weapons of their enemies and turn them into symbols of their own strength and traditions. The Black Blade of Antwyr. Most warriors who pick up a demon weapon end up serving it. Castellan Garin Crow has spent his life making sure that never happens. The Black Blade of Antwyr is an ancient demon sword discovered in the 37th millennium. The Grey Knights couldn't destroy it, and they couldn't lock it away forever, so they chose the only option left. One warrior would carry it wherever he went, Marit Gavalin. Before Crow, the blade was guarded by his mentor. During a demonic invasion in the Sendava system, the demon tricked Gavalin into drawing the sword and broke free. Crow defeated the creature, recovered the blade, and accepted the burden of becoming its next warden. The demon inside never stops whispering. It promises Crow power, forbidden knowledge, and victory over every enemy he faces. Crow ignores every temptation. He refuses to use the blade's dark powers, fighting with it as nothing more than a sword while battling the demon in his mind every single day. Thanks for watching until the end. Click here to check out another video and see you in the next one.